Hey everybody, Who's Your Jedi here with another review for you. This time we're talking episode 1 of season 4 of Riverdale, In Memoriam. And this is a really simple episode, honestly. The show, of course, has to address the fact that Luke Perry, who played Fred, died back in March. And this is basically a big send-off to both Fred as a character and Luke Perry. And, of course, as somebody who was a kid back in the days when Beverly Hills 90210 was basically the hottest show in America, even though I never watched it, it was a moment in pop culture that I do remember very clearly. And of course, Luke Perry was a big part of that. He was a really big dude at the time. And, he had his career, had his ups and downs, but he was one of the more name brand people that they brought onto Riverdale, and he did a fantastic job as Fred. He was a very, very gifted actor, and, I was genuinely sad to hear of his passing. And this episode, as I said, was really there just to sort of say goodbye to the character and, of course, to the actor. And it really does address all of this nicely, because it does show that Fred really was one of the most good-hearted and moral people in Riverdale. He really was not somebody who compromised his ethics very much. I mean, he did threaten to kill Hiram that one time, but let's face it, Hiram kind of has it coming. And I do like that there was that little moment where, everybody is reading the newspaper obituary about Fred, and, even Hiram, Hiram is not celebrating this. Fred was somebody who was a serious obstacle to him that he had tried to kill, at least twice? But Hiram paid for the funeral. There doesn't seem to be any really duplicitous motive behind that. And even then, he sort of looks a little upset. Now, I don't think Hiram is going to be unhappy that someone who, ran against his wife and was a serious obstacle to his goals is gone. But I do think that Hiram at least respected Fred. Hiram does respect people who are strong, and he and Fred do have a lot of history. Fred was somebody who was willing to stand up to him. I mean, he flat out said, "Hiram, if this goes bad, I will kill you, and I am at peace with whatever happens after that." Again, Hiram is somebody who respects strength, and however much of Fred might have been an obstacle to him, I think Hiram would have had at least a serious degree of respect for him. It's like, okay, this is somebody who is willing to stand up to me and who is a threat to me. I don't like that, but I will respect that he is somebody who does not let me walk all over him. Again, this is somebody that Hiram had known since he was in high school. However dark their history is, there was a connection there, and they shared a secret for more than 20 years. So, yeah, I think it was really just a case of Hiram sort of saying goodbye to someone who, while an obstacle to his goals, even he recognized was a good person, and that he did have some genuine degree of respect for. I kind of wonder if there hadn't been a little bit of a, if only things had worked out differently between me and Fred. But, and of course Hermione was extremely upset. She was basically, had feelings for Fred, serious ones, for a while. Alice is also upset. Kind of glad we didn't get to see a shot of Penelope. She probably would not have been broken up by this at all, but still. They do take a little time to sort of sow some different seeds for other things that are going to be happening this season. I mean, Cheryl is still completely nuts and talking to her brother's corpse, and she does come off as just utterly selfish with the whole thing of, like, okay, well, you're having the parade again, even though it was canceled as a sign of respect to my brother. I mean, that's a very clear sign that Cheryl is just not moving on. She is just reveling in her inability to get past this issue from her past. I do have to, and I did notice that other people pointed this out. You kind of have to wonder, well, who is officially Betty's legal guardian right now? Because we saw at the end of last season, Hiram and Hermione are both in jail, and that her old doorman Smithers was illegally appointed as Veronica's guardian. Okay, well, it's only for a year, her senior year of high school. It's not that huge a deal. But somebody is going to have to assume legal responsibility for Betty. Her older brother seems like a reasonable choice, the FBI agent. But again, that's not something that really needed to be addressed this episode. But I do like that she took a moment to go over and see her father's grave. And you can tell that Betty is having some pretty complicated emotions there. It is worth keeping in mind that the idea that Hal is a complete psycho murderer has only been something that she's really had to deal with for probably a little over a year. For the rest of the time, Hal would have simply been her father. And while the Coopers certainly had their problems, they didn't look like Hal and Betty were clearly, Hal and Alice were clearly not terrible parents. Again, the Coopers had their issues, but I can understand kind of where Betty was getting from, sort of thinking like about all the good memories she would have had of her father, as well as the terrible ones, and trying to reconcile that. The people in our family, the people that we love, are just as human as we are. They're a mixture of good and bad. It's often difficult to look at the worst aspects of people that we love and reconcile them with our happy memories of them showing us kindness and love. It's a truly difficult dichotomy to reconcile. But again, that's just how humans are. Does anyone really want to be judged by the worst aspects of themselves? Of course not. And yet in our modern society, especially our modern social media, one stupid tweet from 7 years ago and you're a dumpster fire of a human being, society, that's what we're so quick to do. For no other reason than, what, cheap, easy self-righteousness? A reason to look down our nose at someone else and feel superior morally to them? No, easy to do that with strangers. Not so easy to do that with people that you've known all your life. People who have sacrificed for you. People who have done remarkable acts of love for you. And if you're wondering if I'm drawing on some of my own personal experiences in life, well, the answer is yes. And that's all I'm going to say on that. But yeah, still, nicely done. Nicely done. And let's see. Again, nice moment with FP. The whole town throwing a parade for Fred on the spur of the moment to welcome him back. I mean, that's a little over the top, but come on. They're saying goodbye to an actor who was a big part of the show who died. So, I can forgive a little bit of unrealism on that part. And just to take a moment, the woman that Fred saved was played by his old 90210 co-star Shannon Doherty, who again, at the time was just an absolutely huge person in the media and pop culture of the time. Yeah, man, in the early 90s, Shannon Doherty was super hot. Super hot. Anyway, I think that's everything I had to say for this episode, so let's just call it here, guys. Until next time, take care and have a good one.